As a quick precursor to this episode, I would love to invite you to attend the autumn edition of my in-person event, Dare Greatly in the Coaching Arena, which will be held on Friday the 8th of November in Barnes, southwest London. It's a 5-minute walk from Barnes Station, and there's also a free car parking place on site. So it's the best of both worlds. We will be preparing and planning for your best ever 2025, and you will leave with that vision and strategy for your next 12 months with a newfound sense of connection and focus. We will be harvesting your present and planting the seeds for a profitable and joyful 2025, allowing your business goals to bloom with ease. I'm very excited to be bringing the warmth of the season and all of those beautiful colours and everything we can learn from shedding what no longer serves us and preparing for spring. Embrace the seasons of change and join me on 8th of November to Dare Greatly in the Coaching Arena. Do not worry if you don't know anyone. I will ensure that you feel welcome from the moment you arrive until the moment you leave. I cannot wait to see you there, and grab the link now in the show notes. Hello and welcome to Women in the Coaching Arena podcast. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Jo Lott, a business mentor and ICF accredited coach, and I help coaches to build brilliant businesses. I know that when you prepare to enter the arena, there is fear, self-doubt, comparison, anxiety, uncertainty. You can tend to armor up and protect yourself from vulnerability. In this podcast, I'll be sharing honest, not hype, practical and emotional tools to support you to make the difference that you're here for. Dare greatly, you belong in this arena. Hello, welcome to this 68th episode of Women in the Coaching Arena. I am so glad you are here. It's a beautiful day here today, and it got me thinking about the power of decisive action, which really is the true skill of entrepreneurship. And what led me on to thinking about this is I have my in-person event this Friday, which is very exciting. So I have 32 amazing coaches coming for the day. And I asked in an email to them last night, which was kind of prepping for the day, what would you like to achieve? And there was a whole host of different answers, varying from want to feel connected to others and inspiration, happy with anything. And there was also lots of tasks. So, want to know how to run a discovery call, want to know how to do a signature coaching program, want to know how to nail my niche. And I think that is really interesting because, yes, that is what we all want to know. But it's also interesting because there is so much information out there. I have podcast episodes on nearly everything we need to know. So what we need to know is not always the problem. That's the thing that we can easily miss. That it's not knowing what we need to know. There are books, there is YouTube, there is this podcast, there are so many things that help us with what we need to do. It's the implementation and also the courage to actually take action, not knowing if it's the right decision or not. Because, for example, niching is just a decision. You can decide, that's my niche. So it's not something that you need to go around in circles over for months, even though I know we do, and there is no shame in that. I have sure gone round in circles on niching many times as well. But from this view that I'm having today, it's about decision making. And that's why I wanted to really cover that today, that power of making decisive action, because that is what is going to fast track your progress. And that is why the people in my program make much more speedy progress than most people, because instead of staying on their own with that problem, they can share it and then they can move past it way quicker with feedback, with support, with accountability than they would without quickly sharing, making that decision, doing something differently the next day. So excited to cover that today and help you to start taking decisive action in your business. And on this topic, I also want to share that it's not just a cognitive thing. And I think trauma is a real issue in business and it's not your fault. There needs to be a lot of deep personal work that goes on alongside building your business because it's scary to make decisions. We've never been brought up to have a strong opinion, make a decision. It's like play it safe is how most of us were brought up in school. Do what you're told, don't be too loud. So it takes a lot of courage. And it also takes a lot of digging deep and embodiment work. I worked with someone amazing called Juliet who helped me to see that it's not just mindset. It's not just me thinking, I can just change my mind and be more positive. It's trauma stored in the body preventing you from moving forward until you deal with that previous trauma. And when I say trauma, I'm talking about not running in the egg and spoon race or small things. It doesn't need to be a huge, big drama that you've had, but small things and how we viewed them at the time will massively impact us. So allow yourself the self-compassion, whether you think people have got it worse than me, and all of that type of stuff, because yes, for sure that they have. And I really struggle with this also. But your body perceives a threat and stores that threat. So it doesn't matter if it's logical and people are worse off or not worse off. It's your perception in that moment. Let's get started. So firstly, the paralysis of analysis. How many times have you found yourself stuck in the planning phase, researching, weighing up options, seeking that perfect moment to act? I for sure have done this a lot. And while some preparation is important, there is a point where you just need to do the thing, not knowing if it's going to work or not in that moment. There's rarely a perfect time. It's just about trusting that you, as your CEO of your own business, need to make a decision with the knowledge and the resources you have in that moment. And if it fails, fine, you fail fast and you make another decision. And I think that is a absolute skill. There are some people that I've worked with, super successful people, who are unbelievable at making quick decisions. And again, it's so obvious why they succeed when they just move forward that day and I can say something to them one day and it's out there that afternoon and you're like, oh my gosh, if only I could act as quickly as my amazing clients. Whether it succeeds or fails, they're going to know pretty soon versus spending 3 months thinking about it and then not knowing if it passes or fails until 3 or 4 months' time. They're going to know within the next week and then they can move forward with another decision. So it's such a joy and definitely a trait I notice in my clients. Embracing imperfect action is the next one. Progress over perfection every time. Start now, get perfect later has been my motto since day one of my business. The only way you get perfect is to actually start. Be really rubbish when you start and continue to practice that skill again and again and again, like everything we've had to practice in life. But as we grow older, we get so in our comfort zone and we don't want to appear not knowledgeable, not confident, or any of those things. And again, back to the personal growth work, you have to do these things before you're ready. Otherwise, you are never going to get ready. It's also worth knowing that every single successful entrepreneur that you admire has made a mass of bad decisions. That is how they have made really good decisions, because maybe in one bad decision, because they've made it speedily, they've made 4 good decisions with the time they would have spent going round in circles. So thirdly, the skill of decisive action. Making quick decisions with limited information isn't just a necessity, it really is a skill that you can develop. The more decisions that you make, you become better at quickly assessing situations, trusting your instincts, listening to your gut, dealing with uncertainty, learning from the outcome, both good and bad. Next up is owning your own decisions. I had a call this morning with a speaking coach who I contacted at the last minute, realizing hosting a large event requires quite a lot of understanding how to facilitate that process. He helped me to be able to say to those in the room on Friday, like, whose goal is this? It's my goal. So take full responsibility for your goal. And as we continue throughout the day, on Friday, for example, keep checking in. Am I getting closer to my goal? If not, what do I need to do within my control right now to be able to reach my goal? So letting people be the CEO of their own business, like I am hosting the event, but I do not need to own 32 different goals. One person is like wanting to work on the discovery calls, another person's wanting to work on this. We have a limited amount of time, resources. I have the day planned. If that is their goal, they're going to have to figure out what they need to do throughout the day in conversations, and also what they may need to do after the event to reach that goal. So how can you think about taking full responsibility for the outcomes of your decisions, both positive and negative? Learn from every decision, especially the ones that didn't pan out. I just had a message from someone who had their first bit of kind of grief from social media yesterday, and she wanted to retreat, obviously, as you do when someone questions you on social media. But it's like, how can we learn from that, assess the situation, and accept, that is my opinion, and people are going to have different views, and staying in this middle ground all the time is never going to help you to grow your business. It needs to be you. It needs to be your thoughts, your emotions, your stories that you share. If someone has a different view, then that's fine. They can scroll on by, but you can't make yourself vanilla in order to appease one person. And then through making these decisions, you will build that confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. This is definitely something I have developed on this journey of entrepreneurship, which I 100% would never have been able to do before. So it just shows when I make a decision, I think, well, there's no choice. I have to do this now. I have to figure this out. And you will do the same. So trust in your own resilience and confidence. Next, I wanted to talk about the compounding effect of action. Every decision you make, every action you take compounds over time. It's those small, consistent actions that build momentum. People want to think that there's one magic pill that they can take, but it really isn't. It's like these small things of like putting out that post today that you really can't be bothered to put out, is adding another building block to your business. It will create opportunities, open doors for you, and sometimes lead to big breakthroughs that you would never have imagined. Have a think about perhaps that discovery call that you haven't followed up yet could become your biggest success story. So what can you do today to build that compounding effect of action? And lastly, let's think about overcoming fear and doubt, because I know you are probably thinking, this is really easy to say, but what if I make the wrong decision? And let me be clear, you will definitely make wrong decisions. It's not a possibility, it is a certainty. But here is why it's important, because successful entrepreneurs are not those who never make mistakes. They're the ones who make the mistakes the quickest, so they move forward and make the right decision next time. Fear of failure is completely normal. It paralyzes you, and it paralyzes me often too. So again, just know that there is nothing wrong with you. Everyone feels this way. It's just about what tiny step can you take today to ensure that you do not stay stuck. And keep remembering that every wrong decision is an opportunity to learn, adjust, accept, and realize that next time you have that experience now, and you will be able to use that to make a better decision. So here is my challenge to you today. In the next 24 hours, please do make that decision that you have been putting off. Launch the program, reach out to the potential client or previous contact that you knew in your workplace, invest in that tool or training you've been considering. Whatever it is, take action, and know that you will never have a guarantee in entrepreneurship. So if you are waiting to know that this is 100% going to work for you, then you might as well go get a job, because there is no guarantee. And the most exciting part of entrepreneurship is creating, is building, is innovating, and not knowing if it's going to work or not work, but being brave enough to try. So having that faith and trusting yourself enough to know that you are resilient, and should you choose the wrong niche or you put the wrong offer out, you will learn from that, you will grow, and you will do something differently next time that you wouldn't do if it wasn't for taking that decision at that time. So in summary, we covered analysis paralysis, embracing imperfect action, the skill of decisive action, owning your decisions, the compound effect of action, and overcoming fear and doubt. And know that you can do this, keep going. Every successful journey begins with that first step. I love that photo, if you haven't seen it before, with these two massive ladders, and one has these huge steps and the other has these tiny, tiny steps. And who succeeds is the one that takes that tiny step today. So promise me you will make that decision in the next 24 hours. And I cannot wait to hear from you. Drop me a line on LinkedIn as Joanna Lott or Instagram as Joanna Lott Coaching. And I cannot wait to see what decision you make today. So catch up soon. And like I always say, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Women in the Coaching Arena. I have a mass of free resources on my website, joannalottcoaching.com. That's Joanna with an A and Lott with 2 T's, joannalottcoaching.com. And I'll also put links in the show notes below. Let me know if you found this episode useful, share it with a friend, and leave me a review, and I will personally thank you for that. Remember to trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Get into the arena, dare greatly, and try.